Hello, everyone, and welcome to AI and the Author. Today, we are going to be talking about the feature that just got released yesterday evening, and that is scenes, which are replacing beats. Right, so what are scenes? Well, I have some lovely co-hosts here today, Miss Stacy and Miss Harper, and I'm going to ask one of them to talk about this briefly.
So scenes for me are so much more intuitive than beats. With beats, those were for my understanding, those were a necessity, almost created by the staff of Sudowrite in order to kind of break your chapter summary up into bite size and understandable chunks for the AI to work with. Now we have moved past that to where that's no longer needed. So instead of having to worry, are my beats too thick or too thin? Is there enough detail? Are they going to cause looping? Now, what is a beat? First of all, now we're moving into scenes, which as authors, as writers, again, pretty intuitive. It's, it can be a location, it can be a point of view switch, it can be a tone shift. You know what scenes are. So those will be instead of, beat one, beat two as a stride. Now it'll be one is your first scene, two is your second, so on and so forth.
Thank you, ma'am. Harper, would you like to add anything?
Sure. Yeah. So for me, a scene is a section of your novel where, your characters engage in action and dialogue. It usually has, a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's like a smaller story within your story, if that makes sense. So generally, a chapter can have one scene or many scenes. That's really personal preference. Sometimes it'll be a mix. I like, for example, actually, I'm gonna say this first. A scene ends and a new one begins when you have something happen in your story, like a time skip, a change in location, a switch of POV, a new theme, idea, or conflict. So you'll kind of be able to find those natural breaks. I did just kind of like jot down an idea of a scene just to kind of give you an example. So, for instance, if I have a character who's going to a party, I may have one scene where she's getting ready with her best friend and talking about how excited she is that she's going to see her crush there. Then the actual party would be another scene because we've changed location. We've also probably had a small time skip. Perhaps she walks in and sees that her crush is making out with like her arch nemesis. And she runs out of the party and slams into a hard chest. And she looks up and realizes that she ran right into the school's resident bad boy. And that would be the end of another scene. Then maybe I switch POV. So just to kind of give you an idea. And we'll be going into that more later. And can you tell I'm a romance author? Because everything I do has some kind of romance in it. That's all I got.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So pretty much the rest of this was mentioned. Why the change? We are going to briefly look at beats so we can get a better idea of where we're coming from before we dive into the scenes. And during this class, we'll kind of progress to starting from scratch, keeping things very general, and then we'll look at some ways to tweak things and improve everything. All right, so one of the other things that was mentioned was the AIs can read scenes better. It can give you better output. So we've moved from where the AIs, the LLMs used to have a very small context window. Those beats and strides were needed. Now LLMs, most of them can handle pretty much a whole book. And the AIs can now work in scenes, so those little beat chunks aren't needed anymore. Again, this was just released yesterday. If you're in the Discord, you've seen some errors, some people mentioning some things, leaving feedback. Please continue to do that. You can leave feedback for the team either in that Sudowrite general channel in Discord, or you can submit a bug report, if something's going wrong. it's not generating correctly, doing something along those lines, please submit that bug report. That way they can actually go into there and see what caused it and all of that. All right, I am going to link this document at the end of the class because just in case we add in any additional prompts, I want y'all to have those. I know we have a ton of new people. So again, welcome. I want to let y'all know we are not just random people teaching these classes, okay? I've been using Sudowrite for 3 years. I've been a teacher for most of that time. I am one of the lead ambassadors. Me and Stacy actually are co-lead ambassadors. I've even written the books on how to use Sudowrite. So if you've come across those, hey, hello, that was me. This was the original one. We got the new version coming out soon in a couple of months with all of the new updates. I have a YouTube channel devoted for helping authors with using AI like ChatGPT and Sudowrite. And I've helped create a lot of the courses that you will probably attend. And of course, my lovely co-hosts are some amazing authors right here. You can check them out. Fabulous. Highly recommend reading their books and learning, especially if you're in the romance genre. Stacy and Harper, is there anything you would like to say to introduce yourselves?
I think you pretty well covered it. I'm Stacy Jones. I'm a romance author, one of the lead ambassadors, along with Nicole. I published my first novel in 2017 and have since gone on to publish several winners. I found Sudowrite in March of last help.
Oh, you're cutting out a bit, Stacy, like a lot, actually.
So in love with the program. Oh, is this better?
That's better.
Okay. So I don't know what the last thing you heard was. I found Sudowrite in March of 2024 to help streamline my creative process and almost immediately fell in love with the program. It's such a powerful tool to help authors, and I cannot recommend it enough.
Thank you, ma'am. Harper?
Harper's turn.
Okay, my turn. I'm Harper. Hello. I have been also published for, I don't know, what, 7, 8 years, something like that. I just finished writing my 25th book. I'm working on book 26 and 27 right now. I also came to Sudowrite just to kind of streamline my process and really fell in love with the way it helps you outline. And that was always a sore spot for me. I knew what I wanted to write, but kind of getting it into a format. So I absolutely love all the tools in Sudowrite and just think it's such a powerful, amazing program. So that's me.
And we do have many other expert users. Sorry, I couldn't decide whether to say expert or experienced. We have many other experienced users attending the class here today, so you may see them answering questions in the chat. So please trust what they say. All right, and thank you ahead of time for my co-host, just in case, because I always forget to say that. All right, so we are going to look at this real quick. I know it looks like a lot. It's not that much as we talk about it. And then we're actually going to dive into the visual part of everything. All right, so some things to know. As you're going to see, chapter generator in the old Beats version is now called draft in the new scenes thing, okay? Just a little name change, just to kind of help people understand and reinforce that aspect. We were actually talking about this before class started. We don't say it enough. We kind of take this thing for granted that everybody knows that. When you're working with AI, every single step of the way, you should be the writer. You should take control and adjust that output, okay? It's okay if you want to generate everything from scratch from the AI. If you have no idea where to start or you're just experimenting, hit that button, let it give you what it gives you, but please go through and adjust. Get rid of wording you don't like. And this applies to every box. Again, every step, every feature. You go behind the AI, you make it yours. Put the wording that you like. Change up plot points you don't like. Change up the order of events. Whatever you need, you take control. Everything snowballs with AI, whether that is good or bad. You leave in one little line, I don't like it, but I can't think of anything else, so I'm just going to leave it in there. Guess what? Next thing you know, that line's going to turn into a paragraph. That paragraph's going to turn into a scene. Everything snowballs for good or bad, okay? So as we discussed, the scenes are replacing beats. You're going to have 30 days to update a project. This is a project by project basis. That means if you just started a project and you're like, hey, I want to go ahead and work with scenes, you can update it. But if you have a project you've been working on, you're almost done, you don't want to convert everything, you just got a couple of chapters left, you want to leave it as beats, that's fine. Just don't update it. Project by project basis. Updating one project does not lock you into using scenes for everything. New projects will use scenes. Right now, starting, I believe it was March 31st. Somebody correct me if my date is wrong, but we will see it in the,
Correct.
as we look at, thank you very much. So as of March 31st, everything will convert to scenes, okay? If you had some beats, maybe a project you didn't get to, but you had fleshed out these great, beautiful beats because you attended lots of Nicole's classes and fell in love with them, those beats will still be in your history box or your history document for that section, okay? So you will not lose them. One of the awesome things we're gonna look at, scenes renumber themselves. So if you add stuff, it'll automatically put some number in there. It's going to analyze your scenes and help you improve them. So this was one of the big hurdles for beats. People did not know what to do. Okay, you're telling me this isn't right, it's too thin. What do I need to do? The AI is actually going to help you in the case of scenes, okay? But like we said, it is still important to refine everything to your vision. Put the wording in that you want it to use, get rid of wording you don't like, put in your own ideas, get rid of ideas you don't like, and also remember some of your basic beats rules. So we always talk about getting rid of your pronouns. Don't use vague wording like man, woman, the group, the team. Those things can cause confusion to the AI. You see that more whenever you're going through and editing everything. Suddenly you'll come across a sentence and you'll be like, oh, I see how the AI might have misinterpreted this and put the wrong person in there. So save yourself some frustration. Get rid of the pronouns or vague wording. After scenes are generated, when you select your model, you're going to notice that the AI is going to think for a bit, okay? It's analyzing those scenes, and it will tell you if everything looks great or if you should make some adjustments on something. Correct me if I'm wrong again on my saying. I believe they have already done this. When it's analyzing, it's per model. That's why you select the model first. So GPT-4o, I know, loves thick beats. So if you're using select the GPT-4o model, it might say, hey, these are a little on the thin side. Has that been true, or am I thinking wrong when they said that's coming in the future for it to be model specific for the analyzing?
I believe that will be a future thing to be model specific coming soon. Yes, and we have confirmation from one of the magic makers that is a future thing, but
Okay.
also a very exciting thing.
Awesome, thank you. Yes, I agree. We know some models like the thinner things, so this is going to be great. It's going to be awesome. I think you're going to love it. All right, you may have noticed that little extra instructions box. What in the world is that for? Well, it can hold 2,000 words. I tell you that much. So you could do a lot with it. For starters, think of it just as a place to put your beat header. If you always had a beat header, you could put that in your extra instructions box, okay? So some POVs, style, pacing notes. Yes, snag that from Sudowrite themselves. And then I put a couple of examples here. These are some things that I might put inside the extra instructions box that I've used for other instructions places, either as a beat header or outline instruction. So things like this would work in those extra instructions boxes. You can still use guardrails, drivers, focuses, all those things. If you have no clue what those are, drop a comment in chat if you're interested in learning about them. I do have a document I can link to you, but basically it's just a way for you to guide the AI even more, okay? You don't have to use them. It's just some guidelines. All right, and there was that note that the retired pros models, as pros, fastest, unfiltered, and most accurate, do not support scenes. I believe it's that context window issue. Now, there are some models lacking in the pros generator right now. They are tweaking everything to bring those back and work with scenes, just not everything is up and running yet. Again, remember, this just got released last night. They want to get just feedback. So remember to drop that in the Sudowrite general channel, specific issues, specific feedback, and submit those bug reports, okay? All right, any questions before we dive into looking at everything? All right,
Just to have it for the recording, we do have more of a half question, half comment, but time, place, person, actions, reactions, context. These are all the things we're used to putting into beats to make sure that they are not vague and, really give the AI clear instructions. Yes, those things will still be ideal and needed in scenes. And from my understanding, the usual wording, show such and such, describe, jump cut to, open with, that kind of wording is still going to be ideal in scenes.
yes. And I think without the frustration that people have experienced with beats, again, keeping in mind, y'all, I am somebody that loves beats, but I know so many people had that frustration. I think without them immediately getting frustrated from the get-go, let's see how many times I can use that word in a sentence, y'all are going to be able to experiment more. Y'all are going to be able to get this nice, pretty scene generation automatically. You're going to know, okay, this is the good size, or I don't need to worry about that because the analyzer is going to take care of that for me. I can focus on me being the writer, me saying, oh, what else do I want to add in this scene? How can I make sure the AI writes it a certain way? Things like that. I think you're going to have lots more fun with different types of instructions. All right, so before and after time. Before, we had chapter generator and beats. So this is an example, this chapter right here, I'm going to scroll down. This is an example of improper formatting. So in this instance, the AI sees 106 beats. This was a big issue. People didn't understand every one of these is a beat. Those two words right there, the AI sees it as a beat. This chapter heading right here, the AI sees that as a beat. Lots of problems with this, okay? Not only did people have to worry about the formatting, but you had to worry about, okay, is it thick enough, thin enough? If it was too thin, it would cause looping. For those who don't know, looping is kind of when it would write the scene, end it, and then it would start with that next stride, almost as if it jumps back a little bit, and it's rewriting that scene again, but in a different way. That's looping. And it's just a matter of it didn't have enough details to work with, so it might have made something up. Now it's trying to get itself back on track. You're not going to have to worry about that. So for instance, in this one, this was a very thin beat, horrible. All of these really could be one nice scene. So nice thick beat. And then again, going back to that being model specific thing, I've been working a lot with GPT-4o. Thank you very much, Stephanie, for pointing that out to me last year. GPT-4o actually uses about double. When I'm working with that, my single beat will be double. So that scene analyzer will be really handy for when they add new models, things like that. You don't have to learn what kind of scene size, scene details does that model like. Hopefully that will be put in there. The extra instructions things at the bottom. I don't have scenes updated on here yet, but these are some examples of the different types of things you could put in there. Again, those beat headers, the write in first person, third person, whatever. All of those things that you can't fit in the style box. Well, you got 2,000 words now. So you could put information like this. I like having these. I do need to test the JSON. I didn't have time to do that before class. But I would try putting my JSON in there. Other little headers, the regular one. This is courtesy of Stacy right here. So those are just some examples of the things you can put in the extra instructions box. So I know some people, actually several people said they did not mess with scenes yet because they wanted the class first. I've already logged into both my accounts, so I can't show you this. But if you have not logged into your account yet, you're going to get that first big old pop-up like, hey, scenes are here. I don't remember exactly what it says, but you can read through it and just exit out. Excuse me. And then again, each chapter is going to give you the chance to update. So if I want to update this one right here, you see all this. I can update it to scenes. It's going to automatically update on March 31st. I can update it now if I want. I'm not going to make y'all sit through that. The more documents you have over here, the longer that's going to take, okay? It is not just updating this document when I click that update. It's going to update all of them. So grab a cup of coffee, pop some popcorn, do your thing if you want to update it. Your beats will be saved. So let's go in and look at these others. All right, so I only have this one, so I am going to go ahead and update this to scenes. Any questions while we wait on this? Okay, so this is interesting. Y'all see I only have one document over here in the left, right? Before class, I had actually put 22 documents in the trash. I thought, I don't really know if it'll take those documents into account or not. But I think it does. All right, so that is done. And now you see chapter generator is called draft. And I have this box right here. So I could type out scenes if you want that hands-on thing, or I could generate based on outline. Let me pause. Is there anything, I do have chat closed. Is there anything we need to address on updating?
It will, from one of the magic makers, we have confirmation that it will update the documents in your trash in case you restore them later.
Good to know. Thank you very much. And y'all saw it here live, folks. All right, so I did a simple outline. If you've been in enough classes with me, you know I like to actually do my different. We're going to look at some things later, but I wanted to keep this simple first. So all I did was generate a regular outline here, no special instructions. I did my click to generate that chapter 2, and I am going to generate based on the outline right here. So it's going to generate those scenes for me. Now, how many of you, if you have played with scenes so far, put a 1 in the chat. And if you have not messed with scenes yet because you were waiting, put a 2 in the chat. Okay. All right, so this one did our scenes for us right here. It generated 5 total. Let's look at them real quick. We're not going to read all of them, but character is barefoot on the rugged shoreline. Again, going through, I do believe I would get rid of this. Remember what we said, snowballing, check everything and adjust it to your life. Let's get an idea of what exactly is determining is a scene. So he's meditating. So I'd be curious and put this in chat, or you could speak up if you'd like, if this kind of aligns with what you would envision as a scene. So do you, in your mind, would you see this as being a scene? Do you see this as being a scene? Things like that.
I don't see any action in number one.
Nope, he's just meditating. Oh, and he actively smoothed back his hair. All right. Let's see, there's a sea serpent because this is the one with the elementals. Let's see. When a colossal water serpent emerges from the depths. Did the serpent come up? Yeah, water serpent right here. I missed it. All right. So that is a checker. Now let's select the model. So remember, you do that first, or you could do your extra instructions here. I wasn't playing with that yet, but put whatever you want right here. But select your model. Again, I'm a 4-0 girl, so I'm just going to do that one. And you click to generate, but it is not going to immediately go in and check or start writing the prose. It is now looking at these scenes and analyzing everything for you, okay? And in that document that I linked, so this one is saying great work, awesome job. So I put some examples here. We're not going to go into this particular story, but it's one I was playing with to grab things for y'all. You'll notice my genre and style box. This was for the Jack the Ripper story. And you'll notice here I have first person present tense in my style box. When I generated the scenes, you see here when it checked, it says scenes use the wrong POV and tense. So they did not generate in first person present tense, but I could convert it right here to fix it. Just took like a few seconds, if that. So I converted it easily enough. But just to give you an example of how things will look, if it does spot an error, it will tell you what it thinks is wrong, and it will give you the chance to fix it. You do not have to fix it. If you don't agree with what it says, that is fine. You can still generate. It is not going to prevent you from generating prose, okay? Think of everything as a guideline. And then here it shows how it changed everything into the first person present tense. And the little cost credit of that. So whenever I had the fix, this is whenever it fixed it. And now we know everything is good here. So I'm going to click go. It's the estimated word count 2,500. Let's see what it actually gives us. Now, this is a lot of AI generated stuff. I have not messed with the characters or anything like that. This is one of our class stories. All right, so we have in the chat, so each scene may have been multiple beats before. It may have, unless you're like me and went through and loved to make them thick. All right, for clarification, for the sake of the recording, somebody asked, is all of this a scene or is it each one that's a scene? Each one of these is considered a scene, okay? And here's what it gave us. We're not going to read it all. I just wanted to get an idea and see what it stopped at. He's meditating still. And you see a
While
lot.
you're,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
so sorry. While you're reading through that, we had a question. How do you handle transition of time between those scenes? Your answer may be different from mine. For me, I would state it explicitly at the start of the following scene. This many days or hours or minutes has passed. and then jump cut to such and such.
Yep, so I could put, I'm just throwing in some things that don't make sense, but this is probably how I would do it. My scenes all tend to happen, just right there. That's what I fill my box up with, typically one scene. But this is how I would adjust. I love what Stacy mentioned with the jump cut. I learned that from John Creasall however long ago, and I tried that. It is a fabulous switch to jump POVs and everything. So I do recommend using jump cut and experimenting. And you just put in jump cut. I put like jump cut to so-and-so's POV. So if it's still in the same scene, but now you want to switch POVs, that one worked well. And it seems to work better than just saying POV so-and-so. Works like a charm. So a couple of examples there, what Stacy said, using it this way. All right, so it finished and it gave us what it had estimated 2,500 words. Is that still there? No. It estimated 2,500 words, gave us 1,800. So not bad at all. A lot of, it sounds like AI because I didn't change anything. Everything's doing that snowball. All right, so any questions on the basics here before we dive into some tips and tricks?
We do have one question.
Okay.
And I interrupted you again. I'm so sorry. What's the max number of scenes you can have, I believe, per chapter? I don't know that there is a max number, but I would think a general rule of thumb is to keep the number of scenes equal to your desired chapter length.
Yeah, I haven't heard of a number. I know there's, this extra instructions allows for 2,000 words, but there is not that in the scenes yet. If I remember right from our meeting the other day, they did say they are still looking at how this is going to play out. So they haven't put a determinate number here yet because they're still seeing how each model interacts with it, how things need to adjust, all of that. So more concrete information, maybe a more concrete number will happen later. But for right now, no definite thing. There was another question in there. Oh, I wanted to bring up something too. Like, keep in mind your readers, y'all. I've seen people say they write these ginormous chapters worth thousands and thousands of words. We're not talking like 3,000. We're talking 10,000, 20,000. Keep that in mind. Your readers want that little break. They need that little break. So don't try to put too much on them. Don't think you have to load this up. Think of that natural break like Stacy or Harper. I can't remember which one said it at the beginning of the class. Where is that natural break occurring that you can end your scenes, your last scene right here in this chapter? All right, so again, project by project basis for updating, I mean. It does not affect your others. I'm going to scroll down here. Actually close this out.
Nicole, also before you get too far, can we see how many credits that used when you did that chapter?
Yep. That used 5,351. And you see the analyzed scenes was 0.
One more question. Can you still pause it during generation of the prose?
I did see a pause button, so we can actually try that in this next part right here. All right, so these are for y'all to just look at if you want to. These outline prompts right here, I'm actually going to show you. I've already generated them just to give you some ideas, again, of what you can do to guide this. If you were familiar with beats and you saw or worked with how to instruct them in the outline itself, you can still do that with scenes. I did try it out. So there's a scene and sequel prompt. I tried it out. if you like to generate so many beats per chapter, again, directly in your outline, and you just copied those over typically to your beats box, you can do that whenever you generate your outline still. You can tell it how many scenes you want per chapter in your outline, okay? That works fine. And then I gave y'all some examples. So this was it generating via the scene and sequel method. I told it to generate 4 scenes, and it did that. I followed up with a rewrite prompt. Again, this is just stuff for y'all to look at if you want it. And then I gave my go-to prompt if y'all want to use that. I think, again, y'all are going to be able to enjoy experimenting so much more with how to really refine everything instead of just worry about the size of your beats. And you can control it here in the outline before it generates, before you go to that scene box and generate scenes, you can tell it how many to generate. This also worked. We're going to see that too. Extra instructions, again, just for y'all to experiment with. I put a simple one here. We have Stacy's Awesome right here. I know a lot of people love that one. Harper's. You see here, she likes to reference things. There's another class you can watch for questions on that. Hopefully somebody can link it in the chat. So if you're not sure what this means, that's from another class, a great one that I highly recommend watching. And then I have a mega header right here for those of you who like to go overboard like me. This plugin, that way I don't have to come back to this document, I'm just going to cover it real quick. This plugin is, you can highlight your chapter summary, put in document, highlight it, run this plugin. It will give you ideas for the scenes, or you could use it after you generated scenes, but you're like, I want some more, I just don't know what. Copy those into a document, highlight it, run this plugin. I just did this because I was thinking when it analyzes the scenes, you know, it can tell you what's wrong, but I would like it to also give me some ideas. So try that out if you want. Right, so let's look at our outline real quick. These are the screenshots here. So you see I did the scene and sequel. When I generated the outline, I gave it that prompt. So these are still ways you can tweak everything and start customizing it to make it yours, okay? And we'll look how each one did. Since you already have all of these, I believe, yes. All right, so this generated just from regular scene and sequel, no specific instructions. We're not going to read it all, but give you a chance to read like the first one. He's going through the hall. This is for our Guild of Misfits, the Magical Academy School. All right, so kind of typical to me, this read a lot in terms of how it was worded, read a lot like normal beats. And then let's get it here. I know I use 4.0. Is there another model y'all want to use? We're not going to use R1 because that can take a while.
Ryan did say that Sonnet 3.7 was doing very well with scenes.
All right, let's do Sonnet 3.7. I'm going to go ahead and click it. All right, everything looks good. Click go. So I'm interested to see how Sonnet does. I normally use like Sonnet 3.5 for my nonfiction. I haven't messed with 3.7. But given that I'm not crazy about the wording here and I didn't take the time and adjust anything, I'm curious to see what 3.7 will actually do with it. I don't remember what my style and wording is either. If y'all
Ryan
have
did. Sorry.
if y'all have something y'all want us to experiment with, again, use up my credits. Please put that in chat after I go over these and generate a couple. We'll start playing with it for y'all. Go ahead, Stacy.
Ryan did say that there will be a noticeable delay at the beginning of the generation with Sonnet 3.7 and that it writes a lot.
Okay. Yep, definitely seeing the delay. Have the pause here. Obviously, I'm not going to put y'all through that and trying to click it. But so yeah, looks like you can pause. Given that it's writing such a big chunk at a time, you know, a good chunk might still come through after. All right, so let's see. Okay, now I like the wording. So just comparing this first paragraph right here with, again, this was generated with no guidance whatsoever, no adjustments. Yeah, that style of writing, I definitely like what 3.7 did with this. What do y'all think? I do like more mixed cadence and everything, variety of sentence structures. But I'm liking this, and it's still going. We're at just over 3,000, still going. I love that little line right there. Like didn't do a big old info dump, but instead just gave a little kind of flashback so you understand that they keep messing up all of their spells. What's the consensus on this so far?
Consensus is good so far, and we do have a request to experiment with JSON in the extra instruction box.
I can do that. All right, so it ended with just over 3,000. So not bad. So this is actually, if you took the time and go through and you know, okay, this is my chapter right here, it's pretty much generating a full chapter. I like it. I'm happy. I think y'all got to quit converting me to these other models, y'all. Cost was, oh, look at that. It was free. It's not showing yet. Okay, it's not showing yet. Remind me if y'all want to check that out later. All right, so let's look at some of the others that I did from the outline. All right, so in this one, still have that scene and sequel because again, I generated my entire outline with this, so you're going to see that in almost all of them. But in this instance, I decided to try the instructions like I always did for beats. So instead of just generating beats, for those who weren't present during my numerous classes on it, I didn't like to just generate beats. Instead, I would like to tell it, okay, when you generate beats, this is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to focus on, or this is how you're going to generate them, things like that. Just some extra guidance. So I did put that in here to test it out with scenes. This one, basically, I just told it I wanted to focus on the absurdity of everything. I could not remember, no matter, I've used it for years, but I could not remember my line. And I remembered it today. It's usually avoid cliche speech and dialogue. But again, I couldn't remember. This seems to have worked okay though. And then I asked it to open in medias res with a catching, hilarious line of dialogue or exposition. And this is what it gave us. So it didn't do great with that opening line, but I'm also not mad at it. I could do something with this. You know, they burst into the fundamentals with chaos written all over their faces. I like that. So I could definitely work with that. And you'll see this one did, to me, it was very action focused, at least with bringing out those antics. So he's fumbling with his spell instructions, Gus's fire magics, sending a nearby enchanted scroll. See, they go to the courtyard. I'm just trying to glance over it real quick. Not sure how the glare snaps back with a glare that nearly, I didn't understand that, but it's okay. What did we say? It's up to us to fix these things. So to me, it did a little bit better with adding those instructions. And y'all want the JSON? So let's try. Where is my JSON? I don't remember where I put that in. There we go. I think it's, there we go. So I'm just going to grab this one. If anybody wants to use this, I will tell you what I normally do. I generate my outline. I copy just this one, any of them's fine. I copy this into every single chapter, and then I work with Quick Chat. I take each chapter, including the JSON that's in there and that chapter summary. After I've refined that chapter summary so I know it's on point and it's supposed to be what it's about, I will tell Quick Chat, adjust the percentages of this JSON to match this scene summary. So use this and the scene summary into Quick Chat, ask it to adjust the percentages to match. And then I just paste that back into the outline as it's fixing it. So I go through my entire outline at once, fixing this. And then all I have to do before prior, with Beats was just copy it into the Beats box before I generated prose. All right, any other model? I'm liking 3.7, or was that too long of a wait? Do you want to do something else? Let's go with Mini. Mini doesn't get much love, at least not from me. Harper or Stacy, do y'all have anything to add? I've been running my mouth. I'm so sorry.
No, you've been doing an amazing job, and I'm looking forward to trying out the JSON too, because I haven't had time to play with that yet.
Okay, it said it was good, so we're going to go through there. Let's see if our other popped up. No, still didn't pop up. Is 3.7 free right now? Oh, that went fast. Okay. Doors of the lecture hall, A burst open with all the grace of a runaway broomstick. I like that. What do y'all think? I don't know if it's the scenes or if the models are just on point today. I don't think it's my style or genre because I don't think I messed with that much in this book. So it can't be that, but everything's doing really well in my opinion. Definitely have those AI-isms in there, but pretty much easy fix. All right, 4.0 Mini gave us 2,800 words for 1,080 credits, y'all. And I am not mad at this at all, especially this little opener. I really do like that. Stacy, Harper, what about y'all?
No, I think it's doing so well. And I think this is showing us that right off the bat, the AI is doing better with scenes as opposed to beats.
Let me copy this to y'all just in case. I will put it in this document actually, and I will go ahead and get this document copied to y'all. Just in case somebody likes it. Here is the document. All right, let's look at a couple more instructions. So this is the one where I told it for this part right here. Again, it did generate that scene and sequel. Obviously, as you can tell, I just deleted the scene sequel portions and smushed it together. And then I told it to only generate 2 scenes and start that scene with that opening line. And it did generate 2 scenes. And I do like the opening line. I can't say that it flowed too well, but given again that this was just AI and not me adding in anything or correcting anything, again, not mad at it. So it does listen that way. And let's do, since it's just 2 scenes here, I'm going to do that JSON again. So I'm wondering if that also helped. I'm going to do 4.0 because 4.0 was a little bit off. I want to see if it improves with that JSON. And you said, was that the only request?
So far as I'm seeing, yes. We do have a question. How would you remove the AI isms, plugin or prompt? My answer was I just go through and manually edit, but I do know that there are plugins that can go through and read and check your chapter or manuscript for AI-isms and things like that.
And I'm in agreement. I would go through and change it up. So they did say scenes looks at style. Now my style here isn't much help, but normally in my style is asking for a mixed cadence, varied sentence structure, the heavy Hollywood dialogue. I like that mix of regular sentence, punchy short sentence, things like that, right? I don't find that they're pulling in the style enough, in my opinion. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that or if they are in disagreement and think it's pulling in great. I do think there's something that we can do to pull that style in better. So that might actually be something to put here in your chapter summary box, since we know it listens to instructions well. Maybe reinforce that style here.
Agreed. But just for the sake of reiteration, scenes do now see your style box, and that in and of itself is very exciting.
Yes, I agree. Everything should look at style. And the team is like, come on, Nicole, shh. All right, so let's see. So I do not like how this came out. I don't know if it's just 4.0 not doing its best today, or if that, or what's throwing it off. Something seems to be throwing it off. All right, let's look at these two real quick because we're at the top of the hour. We're not going to generate unless somebody needs me to generate something here. So one of the other things I did, and I did put the exact prompts in that document. So originally this had the regular scene and sequel, and then I reprompted just in that chapter. So in other words, that was chapter 4, I believe. So it was this way with just scene and sequel written out this way. Inside chapter 4, I did the rewrite, and here I prompted it to keep all of the details, keep all of the current details, and rewrite it so that it included these things. I did try to include this in the original prompt. It did not come out as well. So I am liking how this double step came out. Yes, it's more work, lots more credits, but I do like how it looked inside the outline. Yes, ma'am.
So I have a statement for if you're seeing a lot of repeated words and phrases, something that I just permanently keep in my style box is shun, overused words, repeated phrases. And that has made a big difference for me. And then for the question, we have, do scenes see the brain dump box?
They do not. I did not put the graph here. I really should, but I'll do you one better and link this to you. This is every class document I have ever done. And if y'all go into this 7-day beginner series and scroll all the way down, there is this beautiful graph that Ryan Mather made. And y'all can see what things pull from. Just for now, replace the beats with scenes. Can anybody think of anything offhand that's different? I cannot. Everything looks right to me. So just pretend this says scenes. And this says draft. So you can see it does not pull from brain dump. It is looking at your outline so it can generate those scenes, and it's looking at style and your genre. Says synopsis. I've actually never noticed much being pulled in from there, but I think others have. And then of course your characters and world building is getting fed into that. Let's see. I don't know if I can. I'll do that after class, after the recording, if somebody needs that. All right, so this is an example of what it did with, each of these being prompted to have an action and event, POV characters response, setting details, dialogue, all of that. So this one seemed more, I'm not sure of the wording to say, better pacing maybe. Like it really seemed like a natural progression of the scene to do it this way with asking for those individual things within each scene and sequel. So that's what I liked about that one. And then the last one I tested was using that scene summary expander. So again, it generated this in the outline. When I generated the outline, I copied this or highlighted that. And this is what that scene summary expander does, y'all. So this right here is this part. But then you see it kind of expands on everything. So this is just something I threw out there, just if you were like me and you're like, hey, I want some ideas. I don't want to just let the AI go like this, but I also don't know what I want. Try this one out. And it wasn't expensive. I think it cost me 100 or 300 credits to run this. And it gave me 516 words, but just to give you some ideas. I know we are at the top of the hour. I am going to stop the recording, but I am more than happy to hang around and answer questions that did not get answered, or if y'all actually want to play and experiment some more, use up my credits, let's do it. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us today. Thank you to my beautiful co-hosts, Stacy and Harper, for helping out. Is there anything you would like to add before I stop the recording?
I don't have anything except definitely make sure you're using the bug reports. As with any new feature, there will probably be some hiccups, and those bug reports are invaluable to the team.
Yes, definitely. So if y'all missed it, it's the question mark up here at the top right. Click the question mark, report a bug, and that will pop up with this screen. You can tell it what happened. Try to give them as much detail as possible. What were you doing? Did you try a new tip? Hey, Nicole showed this in class, and guess what? It broke my Sudowrite. Blame Nicole. Plenty of people do. But just let them know what you were doing. Let's say you're using First Draft, and I was telling First Draft to make a detailed character sheet for me. Let them know that so they can try to replicate the issue. That's normally the first hindrance to them being able to fix a bug, is they have trouble making it happen on their end. So give it as much detail here. If you have a screenshot or a short video, you can attach it right here. And they have other information they need. So please use that. Thank you very much. All right, thank y'all again. I am going to stop the recording, and hopefully I will see y'all next time. Bye, everyone.